All right, let's take care of some business before we get into today's episode. First and foremost, as always, a big shout out to the Patreon subscribers. And if you want to get involved with the Patreon, check us out at www.patreon.com/bigtruth. There's all different ways that, there's all different levels of patronage there. But that's a great way for you to be able to help financially support the show. Content is free. I will never charge for this, but if you want to donate, if you think it's got some worth, we appreciate it, and helps the show keep going and growing. If I know financial situations hard around everywhere right now for a lot of people, at least if you could do this for me, share the show, give it a like, give it a subscribe to it, download it. Wherever you listen to it, please give it a review, whether it's just stars or if you give it a written review like on Apple. I know it helps push us up in the algorithm. And I forgot about this. I haven't looked at them in a while. I got a funny one from a dude named, a dude or a woman named Big Sausage Pizza. And his review, or their review, let's just say, of the show, it says Danzig approved, and then it just says box of saltines, can of sardines. And if you know what the Danzig grocery list is, then that's from that. But yeah, just help us spread the word. Now, if you if you unfortunately find yourself in the situation where you've been involved in a motorcycle accident, do not hesitate to call our homeboys, the Bulldogs over at Glassman Injury Attorneys, jeffreyglassman.com, on Instagram at Gotta Get Glassman. But the easiest number to remember, this is all you got to do is dial 617-777-7777, anywhere in the country, if you find yourself in that situation. Now, also, if you were in a motorcycle accident in the recent past, up to 3 years ago, you can call them, and that case can still go forward. Or if you got like a slack attorney that ain't doing the job, get the Bulldogs on it. Got to get Glassman. If you need artwork, right, you are redecorating your house, your cubicle, your cell, your garage, your tattoo shop, or your other place of business, you need to get in touch with Tattoo Flash Collective over at tattooflashcollective.com. Yes, they have Tattoo Flash, but they also have art prints in all different sizes and varieties, and they work directly with artists all around the world and give you high-quality prints, high-quality art, and they do the right thing and break off the artists accordingly. So check them out, tattooflashcollective.com, on Instagram at tattooflashcollective. And if you use the promo code BigTruth at checkout, you get 10% off your order. Now, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you get even more off your order, but you need to join Patreon to get that. You all know, or if this is your first time listening, or if you don't know me, then you don't know this, but many of you know that I have a motorcycle shop called Chop Ahead Custom Cycles. We're located in Freetown, Massachusetts. It's a full brick and mortar motorcycle shop. You can come on in. We got a showroom, a parts counter, an apparel area where we got riding gear and shop swag, t-shirts, hoodies, whatnot. Hats have always been a big seller of ours. And then in the back, it's a full service motorcycle shop. Meaning full service, like we do service and repair for any of your Harley, but also do custom work. So whether you need an oil change or a full custom motorcycle built, we got you. So give us a call, 508-995-6764, or go to chopahead.com, spelled CHOPPAHEAD. And if you ain't local, or you don't got a motorcycle or something, you can always just grab a t-shirt or something and support. But if you got a bike and you need parts, I can ship anywhere in the world. So, and, our website doesn't have, I can't put all the parts we have, but, pretty much I can get you anything. So if there is something you need and you don't see it on the website, give us a call or shoot us an email. For more information on the podcast, just go to bigtruthpodcast.com. If you want to rock some show merch, make sure you hit the store button. We just got a new updated a store with a company called Dashery that does all the fulfillment. So there's all kinds of fun and funny and weird and cool merchandise there. So whether you need a t-shirt or a hoodie or a tank top or something, crew necks, they got hats, they got pillows, they got travel mugs, they got coffee mugs, all kinds of wacky stuff. Banners, whatever. You checked it out. Go to bigtruthpodcast.com, hit the store link. And, without further ado, we're just going to rock right into this one today. This one's going to be a wild one. And so it's going to be kind of a blast for the past. But motherfuckers that are still rocking to this day. So without further ado, let's launch into it right now.
Sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
All right. Once again, we have liftoff. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the Big Truth Podcast. And today, one of the rare times that I'll have two special guests. We got Riki Rachtman, who you may know from back in the day, Headbangers Ball, or a whole litany of clubs, or from his motorcycle rides. And we got Ace Van Johnson, who you know from dare I say, U.S. Bombs and Murphy's Law, and then some other bands like Faster Pussycat and L.A. Guns. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool.
In that order.
In that order.
Yeah.
But it's cool because both of you guys didn't. I heard a rumor that, Riki, that you tried out for Angry Samoans. Did you?
I was about 14 or 15-year-old, and they were having like an audition in some house because I was probably a little bit older than that, but not 18.
Yeah.
And I went to audition, and I think the song was probably. Can you swear on this show?
Yeah. It's full. Whatever's clever.
The song was "You Stupid Asshole," which I bet Ace knows the song.
I do.
Yeah, so I had to audition that, and the problem is, like, I've always been kind of a baby face. Like, I was always the guy when any of my friends like said, "Hey, don't mess with me," and they'd be okay. And I was the guy that said, "Don't mess with me," and they go slap me in the face. Like, I've always had a baby face. So when I was like 17, I looked like I was 14.
Yeah.
And so I obviously didn't get the job, which is obvious because I didn't belong in that band. But the thing that I think really made me and Ace best friends was basically our love for punk rock.
Punk rock. Yeah.
And it's funny because, you guys, you had like a core in punk rock, but you guys kind of, also made your bones in like the metal and glam scene. Which is, I don't know, back in the day, those were kind of divergent worlds, right? Like now everyone's kind of like more like
melded,
accepting and more melded. But how did you guys what was it like making transitions from like those two worlds? Because they were, back in the day, those, especially when glam was at its like heyday, or like metal just in general was at its heyday, was a different world because records were selling. It was like, it was still like, it was still way bigger than it is now.
You do understand that when you say back in the day, my back in the day, Ace was 2.
Your back in the day was like the early 80s, and my back in the day was like the mid 90s. So in hindsight, it's not too far apart now.
Yeah. Well, the older we get, like age gaps aren't as when you're 15, 16, a 4-year, 5-year, 6-year age gap is big, but when you're 45 and 50, it's nothing, right?
It's nothing. Yeah.
The truth is, the Cathouse scene, which I selfishly call it, was not the same in the early days like what people think the Sunset Strip scene was.
Yeah.
And the Cathouse was much more punk than you would see it at like a Warrant show. So, when I saw Guns N' Roses, when their early days, they were playing with bands like the Joneses. So the early Cathouse days, I mean, if you've listened to some of the podcasts, you hear, like Pat Mazinga, who comes from punk rock like Decry and stuff like that. He used to talk about, going to Cathouse in the early days, and it was these goth girls that were so hot. And then, of course, the scene got bigger, and it establishes more in that 80s rock scene. But I think today it's not as bad to say that you were in punk rock. Like Ace and I both wear the punk rock badge very proudly.
Yeah.
But today is the day that it, like these days, people are like, oh, well, if you don't listen to metal, it's death, but all but metal. Except the people that are really part of the scene, like a lot of them grew up in the same kind of music that we listen to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was I don't know. It was just there was something different back then, which I liked. You know what I mean? Like everyone, like I don't know. I remember like I grew up like with I was in like the hardcore and punk scene, and then but my friends were in like the metal scene, and one of them's Mark Lopes who sings for Jesus Christ, Metal Church now, and he does stuff with Ross the Boss and everything. But we were always friends. But it was like us in the music industry, like the bands were always friends, but it would seem like the crowds didn't get along. Like if they played with us at a hardcore show, it kind of got a different response. Or if we played with them at a metal show, like people like, you know, the power metal guys weren't really into hearing us play like dumb 3-chord hardcore, you know what I mean? So it was always a funny time, but it was a good time to grow up because you were or be involved in music because you were exposed to a lot of different stuff. And, you know, that was back in the days, you could go to a club and see Nirvana play at a club that, you know, some punk rock band was playing the next day, and there was, you know, 40 people at the show, and it was just wild, you know, and I'm sure it was the same out there for you guys in LA. Well, Ace, are you a New York guy or are you a LA guy?
No, I'm from Los Angeles originally.
Okay.
I was born in the Valley, and then I moved to Nashville during the pandemic. So I've been out here in Tennessee for about 4 years.
How you like that? I was just out in Tennessee. It's beautiful. Nashville's cool.
Yeah, we get all 4 seasons sometimes in one day, like today.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like it. It's a whole different world, and I miss Hollywood from time to time. But usually by the time I'm really thinking about it, I have to be back there in like a matter of weeks for work anyhow. So
yeah, what's Ricky? What's Hollywood like nowadays? I haven't been out. I've been out to LA, but I haven't like. I was out there just briefly. Post COVID, I was only out there once, and it was for like a funeral thing. So it's whatever. I didn't get around much. But is things still rocking? Like, what's going on?
There's still a music scene, but it's definitely not. I mean, obviously, when Ricky had Cathouse and was, you know, sort of king of the scene, there was way before my time. But growing up in my early 20s. Into my 30s, you know, let's say 2000s and what do we call them, the 2010s, the aughts and the tens, the teens. I felt like there was a pretty good scene somewhat. I have to imagine it was nothing like it was in, you know, on the strip era, but there was still a community. And then there started popping up all these jam bands like, you know, Ultimate Jam Night and all these things. And that was a really cool, networking opportunity to be a part of and see kind of grow and see people come out of it and get gigs and get hired and join bigger bands and whatnot. So that was cool, but collectively, but I think even that sort of ran its course. And when I go back now, it's obviously like all things, it's very different. And so I'll go to town and, you know, swing by and have a lunch at the Rainbow and see some friends or maybe hit a show, but I don't feel like it's the same thing it was 15, 20, 25 years ago. And I'm sure much different than it was 30, 35, 40, 50 years ago.
I mean, I moved to it's funny that Ace lives in Tennessee and I live in North Carolina. But the truth of the matter is everything I miss about Hollywood isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So everything that I miss about LA, I'm sure the people in LA miss, because in my opinion, Los Angeles is dead.
The people that are left in LA that are from LA, right? Because so many people I know that are from LA that were involved in music are all over the place now. Everyone moved down south or like places where it was more sensible to live, you know, like
yeah. Well, I moved to
the beauty of the scene then, I mean, and this is, you know, way before your guys' times, but the beauty is that nobody was rock stars. Nobody was making money. I mean, we had our Rats and our Motley Crues that were making money, but, you know, GNR and Jane's Addiction and Faster and everybody else, they didn't, you know, we didn't think any of these people would be making money. So, and we supported bands, but, you know, in Hollywood, there were different factions. I mean, I can't even begin to explain how proud I am that I was a part of that Cathouse legacy, because it was different than anything else, and it'll never, ever be duplicated. But, you know, I mean, on one hand, it's almost good that scene isn't the way it is, because I would look pretty ridiculous still going there doing the stuff that I used to do way back in the day at my age. So, so now it's you know, I what I miss about LA I would need to go back to LA with a time machine because
Sure.
it's not there.
I think that's how it is everywhere too. I think music, this is going to sound weird too. It's good because you guys can live anywhere now. Like, and people can be in bands and live anywhere, and with like internet and stuff, and like you can record a guitar track and send the file to somebody, and they can throw the drums behind it, vice versa. You don't have to be in the same room at all anymore, so you can kind of live wherever. And then once a tour starts, you all get together and rehearse a couple times or whatever, and hit the road. But I think what made the music scene special back in like the 80s and 90s is that there was no internet, and it's like if you wanted to be part of it, you had to be there, physically be there and support. And if you wanted to find out what was going on, you had to be there to find out, you know. And then it's like, and you had to do research. Like, if like, hey, I like this band. What are some other bands like it? Well, who did they thank on their record? Let's research
liner
notes and all that.
Read those liner notes.
Yeah, and that's what was cool. Like, I think that made it tighter because you had to be out and be part of it. But now you can, you know, find 50 years of music history like on Spotify in 10 minutes, you know. And it's like, I don't know if you appreciate it as much when it's just that so readily available. I don't, you know, it's just a thought, you know.
Yeah. I think anybody that's come along as a fan of music in any genre that's gotten into it post millennium or whatever, post 2000, whatever you want to call it, streaming services, Apple Music, Spotify, etc. It's so different. I mean, I still buy analog. I mean, I spent $300 on records today at a record convention.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I hear a new album or a new artist or a new single or something and I really like it, I'm going to try to find, assuming it's pressed on vinyl, I'm going to go find the physical media. And it's cool to, you know, if it's like, oh, it's this new kid band and there's a digital single and that's all there is, that's fine too, because that's the medium and the format nowadays. But I still prefer, just Riki and I bonded over this a lifetime ago, like holding and, you know, again, liner notes and looking at the artwork and, ooh, it's a red, clear, sparkle fucking color variant, way more interesting. So it's a different world.
There is no effort in order to get music, you know.
Yeah.
When I was a kid and I wanted to go get, you know, records, it was, you know, getting on your skateboard and going to or your bicycle and going to the record store and waiting and, you know, record stores did, you know, record release things to celebrate a big record, and people used to wait in line. You know,
stores would open at midnight or something that day. Like they would open at midnight, and there'd be people in line just to get the new Iron Maiden record or whatever it was. Yeah, no, I remember that. And I'm the same way. And I was just talking. I just recorded an episode the other day. It's not out yet with my buddy Lenny Lashley, who did stuff in Street Dogs and
I know Lenny.
Yeah. So, and we were talking about the same thing. Like, I love holding a record and having the record in my hand and seeing the record. It's not just the music, but the sum of all of it, looking at the artwork, like what was put into it, liner notes, if there's liner notes and all that stuff. It feels like it's more of an experience, like to have the whole thing in your hand and have the artwork at that size. Because even a CD or cassette, it's like, you know, it's cool, but not as cool as having the 12-inch LP, you know, like to hold. Speaking of records, we got a special guest in the house over here who you guys may know.
Hi, guys.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What's up, Roger?
First time caller, long time fan. Just wanted to say hi. Can't wait to see you guys in a couple weeks.
Your mic wasn't on. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. Can't wait to see you guys in a couple weeks. And
can't wait to see you.
Yeah, I can't.
How are my dogs?
Dogs are wonderful. Penelope had surgery. She's good now.
Roger's dogs, world famous.
They're out in the truck. I'll bring them in if you want to be madness. But no, I wanted to stop by and say thank you guys for doing this. Thank you for coming up. Thank you, Truth.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Yeah. And thank you, buddy, for everything you do to the music scene out here and organizing things. Like
I love New Bedford because when I did my show in New Bedford, the crowd was so cool, and and thanks, Roger, because we're both really I'm really nervous, but we're really looking forward to it. I mean, this is, and it's going to be fun that we all, you know, it's like, you know, some of the people that work for me are all coming down. We've got friends coming down, and it's something like, it's something that it's pure fun.
It's going to be a party, really pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing
Ricky's nervous, but I'm not. I don't know.
Well, hold on, Ace. I'll tell you why, and maybe he'll understand.
Because you heard yourself sing?
No, it wasn't just that. That was part of it. Should I go into details now?
Yeah, tell us.
Okay.
Tell the class.
So, I played in several bands. I would say that I'm a mediocre singer. Some of the things I think I can sing okay, but that was a long, long time ago. Like, people make fun of some of these singers that are older now and they can't sing. Well, I wasn't a great singer when I sang in bands, but then we agreed to do this thing. And the only person I ever love getting up on stage these days is with Ace, and we always have a good time. And so the whole idea of doing this thing acoustically was really, really fun. So I decided, okay, I'm going to learn these songs that I'm not going to tell you what songs Ace and I are doing, but Ace was very good in showing me and practicing them. And I'm practicing because I really want to play these songs and I'm getting okay at it. But now I'm trying to sing it. And my wife is like when I'm singing, she gives me like a little like, and I'm like, okay. And then the new thing that I just realized last night is, singing and playing guitar at the same time is not easy, because I could never be a drummer. It's doing, two different things at the same time. So hopefully practice is going to make it better, but I've never sang and played guitar at the same time. So, hopefully if you said scale 1 to 10, I could say it'd be a 6, because I'm a 3 in singing and a 3 in playing guitar. So maybe that makes it a 6, but I know we're going to have a good time, and hopefully Ace and I can practice, but I really don't know how. I mean, Ace is teaching me chords to play songs that I don't know how to play, that I really want to pull off. So it'll be fun.
It's going to be fun. Even if it goes off the rails, we're still going to have a blast.
Aren't I?
Yeah, but I'm one of those guys like I want it to be so good. Everything I do, I want it to be really, really good. So we'll see. I know we're gonna have fun, and the whole 3 days that we're there are gonna be a blast. But
absolutely, New Bedford's a good party town, and there's a whole segment of New Bedford that's never really left the 80s or 90s. So it's gonna be perfect. Like, that's what I mean. It's gonna be right up the alley.
It'll be.
When I did my One Foot in the Gutter show at the Vault.
Yeah.
And I did it at the Vault, and I was like, I checked advanced sales, and they were like, okay. And then I'm up in my dressing room. Ace, have you been to the Vault?
Yeah, played there a bunch.
So the dressing room is like 3 stories up.
Yeah.
So I'm up there, and I'm always like, even Ace knows the few times that I've been in shows, I'm like Eeyore. I'm like, oh God, nobody's going to do it. It's going to be terrible. And all of a sudden, they play Pantera Walk before I come out on stage, and I hear the whole crowd, that like loud. And I'm walking down the stairs. I'm like, hell yes.
Yeah.
So I was, I'm ready. And it was New Bedford was such a fun show. So when our friend Barney Morrison said the idea of doing this in New Bedford, I know how New Bedford is, and Ace has said such good things about you guys that it seemed like a no-brainer.
Hey, and shout out to Barney, because he was helping. He helped set up the podcast and did some groundwork for us. So shout out to him for that.
He's a good dude.
Good dude.
Don't tell him I said that, but he's a really good dude.
He might see this, you know what I mean? So, well, I can edit that out if you want. but yeah, man, it's going to be a good time. Like, tell us a little bit about how this came together and what you plan on doing.
Go ahead, Ace. How did this come together?
Well, so Riki and I both have a Patreon, and we have a podcast that we do together, which is basically us just talking shit. As you do.
The best kind of podcast.
Yeah, and I don't really know. I feel like this sort of coalesced out of that, but just looking for stuff to do. I don't really remember how it went from we should do this in front of an audience to, we're doing this in front of an audience.
I think there's a part of us that really, because we are such good friends, and there's several times that we've got up on stage and done songs, and I know I'm the weakest link, but we've always had fun. And I think there's a part of us that have always wanted to, this would be really fun if we could just go out and do shows doing this,
Yeah.
I wanted to do this.
I think it's going to be fun because it's definitely not just a concert. It's like we're playing a few songs, and we're going to definitely tell some war stories and talk some shit and crack some jokes and a couple other elements. But I think just getting to kind of banter amongst ourselves in front of an audience is kind of how often do you get that privilege? So it's like, all right, cool. Well, hopefully we make some people laugh and smile or cry or both.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
One of the things for people to have a good time, people want to walk away watching somebody and then see the show and people, I hope when they see me sing, the people walk away with a good feeling saying, I could do better than that. So, to have that feeling when people leave is really, really good. I want them to feel that.
Absolutely. You're gonna inspire people to stop bands.
That guy can go up there. I know I'm not gonna sound as bad as that.
Yeah.
If he can do it, yeah.
Are you riding up, Ricky? You gonna ride up, or are you gonna fly out?
It's so funny. It's like, for people who don't know, I ride motorcycle. I mean, I ride motorcycles further than anybody. I just ride all the time. And like, I'll show up at places in the middle of like any random state. And the first thing that people say is like, oh, did you ride here? It's like, sometimes I take planes, sometimes I don't ride everywhere, but this summer will be like, I mean, I already rode to Key West and back. I did 700 miles. I've got a brand new bike and I did 700 miles in one day with no music, no nothing. And then in June, I'm going to ride from North Carolina all the way down the coast of Texas, up to Austin. Then I'm going to do an iron butt, which is 1,000 miles in 24 hours, up to Cheyenne, Wyoming. Then I'm going to ride to Calgary, Canada, pick up my wife, go way up into Alaska for the 4th of July, then ride all the way back to Washington, then probably go to Sturgis and then back. My ride's probably going to be about 14,000 miles this summer.
Yikes.
Not on that Honda. I'm not on that CB750 chopper.
I've done 14 miles on that chopper. I'm riding a Harley Davidson Pan America right now, which is just one of the coolest bikes I've ever had. It's the coolest bike I've ever had. I don't know if you know the bike. It's an adventure bike by Harley.
I had one. I had to turn.
Did you have an old one?
I had the one that had all the computer issues, so I turned it in, and I got.
They were terrible in 2022.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
They're phenomenal now.
I know.
Best bike I've ever owned, and I've owned them all.
I turned it in with 400 miles because the computer kept glitching out, and it was during COVID, so there was no computer, like no CPUs available to replace it with. But that 400 miles was fun as fuck. Like, I was like,
yeah, they were. I mean, I'm the first one to say, like, those bikes were horrendous, and that's why I was going to go to either a BMW or something else, but they fixed it, and I'm so glad they did.
Well, you did the smart thing. You waited a couple years for them to get the kinks out. The first generation, I was just so stoked on. I was like, I gotta get this. I gotta get it, and I got it. And I was
I love my bike.
Yeah,
it's great.
It just goes anywhere you want it to. Like, you're driving on the road, and you see a little, like, like a highway. You're on the highway or something, and then you see a little side road or a little dirt road, and you just go off that, and then you go on trails with it, and it's just goes.
I don't know what I'm gonna hit in the Yukons. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So.
It's fast as fuck too. It's that's
150 horsepower.
Yeah, it goes where you want, and it goes there quickly. So
Did you ever ride a motorcycle, Ace?
Yeah, my dad was a enduro racer when I was a kid. So I spent a lot of time as a kid in the desert with dirt bikes.
I got to go 1 second. Hold on.
Okay, I'll run with that. Yeah.
Well, interesting, Ace.
It's your time for a solo.
Is it the bird?
It's your solo time.
Yeah. So
finally, it's all about me.
Yeah.
I rode dirt bikes from probably the time I was old enough to stand up till I was about 15 or 16. Every couple months with my dad. My dad was in a couple motorcycle clubs as far as like enduro racing, whatever. The Checkers, the Viewfinders.
Oh my God, I remember the Checkers.
Yeah, my dad was a checker.
No kidding. I remember that.
Yeah. Checker, Viewfinders. He was in a couple. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. But he passed when I was a teenager, and then that sort of ceased to exist. So I've ridden a couple times since then, but like 3. And I'm fascinated by them. I love the culture, especially since I kind of grew up by proxy to it. But I know I'd dump a bike and I'd lose a fucking hand or something, and that'd be the end of it. So I just admire from afar,
Yeah, man, it makes sense. You gotta protect those hands. That's your that's how you make your living.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do love the motorcycle culture. It was cool to grow up around. It's not the same as obviously enduro racing is completely different, but still some of the
yes and no. Yes and no.
People my dad was around and working on bikes and stuff in the garage as a kid was cool memories to have. So I appreciate it, like I said, from afar.
I mean, the cultures go hand in hand, like music, or the music we're into, and motorcycles, because it's just another extension of loud, fast, and dangerous, right? Like that's
Correct.
That's what it was,
That's us.
what it is, yeah.
And there's just as many elitists in the motorcycle culture as there is in the rock and roll culture.
Yeah. There's the whole gamut of the same type of personalities with different personality disorders are equal amongst both cultures there, both subcultures.
Sure,
for sure. But yeah, man, you guys it's gonna be a good time all the way around when you guys come out. We're looking forward to that. And again, thanks for everyone who set it up, Roger and stuff. Are you hanging out or do you got to go?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna bring my dogs home.
Well, hold on. Tell me about the things that we're doing. So on Friday, what do we do?
Thursday is the Dipper, which is
April 10th.
April 10th.
Now, what's the Dipper? Tell me about the Dipper.
It's my bar. It's
What's your bar?
Yeah, it was. It's been in my family for about 50 years
like
or so.
100 years.
Yeah, it was like
I saw it.
Yeah, it's the first
Opened in,
licensed
like, the
bar.
30s?
Yeah, it's the first licensed bar in New Bedford. It was the first bar to open up after Prohibition. So it's not the first bar, but it's the first licensed bar.
Awesome.
My uncle bought it from the original owner, and I grew up in there. And then my father bought it, and then my father and his business partner wanted to get out of it during COVID. So me and my buddy Packer, who's in the band Slapshot, we bought it. So it's just it's a neighborhood bar, but it's a good time, and it's like an old school New Bedford neighborhood bar. So it'll be a good crowd. It's a good crowd of people that understand what's up, and we'll have a good time, and we'll keep it respectful. But it'll be a blast.
The line will be down the
I
street.
heard you have a killer flies.
Ace walk in.
Then we got Friday. We're playing Play Arcade. That's the debut of you guys, which you guys still need a band name. And then
I liked the Blackjack Brothers because Ace.
I thought it was just. I didn't think it's not really a band. It's just you and me like dicking around.
Let me play.
Okay.
So don't make the laminates.
I already made them. I bootleg T-shirts and everything.
Oh boy. And then Saturday, Ace has to fly back to Tennessee for an event. And then we have Ricky at my record store at Purchase Street Records during the day. And we're going to
famous Purchase Street Records.
Yeah, a few hundred people know about us. And that's going to be chaos there. It's record store day. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So that is officially record store day.
Yeah. So you're the ambassador
cool.
to our store.
What's the new
day.
special stuff that what they're releasing for record store day? Anything cool?
360 releases, which is ridiculous. But
what are the standout ones? What are the ones you were ordering the most of?
Black Sabbath, Dawkins. I really only order the dudes stuff to my store. Everybody can just go somewhere else if they can't find it. I'm good.
Well, Ace loves Dawkins so much.
Well, and I'll have the new LA Guns record, and I'll have the new Blackjack Brothers record.
He's gonna press it when you guys on Saturday night. He's gonna record it live and press it.
I'll do it.
Make an acetate, and he's gonna press it and have it for sale on the next on Saturday.
If I can do it, I'll do it.
That's fair.
But thank you guys. I appreciate it. I didn't want to interrupt too much.
Thank you. We're really looking forward to it.
And,
no, thank you guys. We're really excited.
All right. You guys be nice to him. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. So
see you, Raj.
All right, bro. I'll see you later, man. See you. All right. Get back to it here. All right. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a good time for people. I always like to find out a little bit more about people and not for lack of a better word, the origin stories, but how did you guys find your way into music and not only just music, but how did you know you weren't going to just be a fan, but you were going to kind of make a career out of it? Whether it was in bands or, from hosting TV shows to owning a club and kind of, being the purveyor of nightlife in LA, you know what I mean? And then, all the stuff you did with TV shows and whatnot, How did that stuff happen?
You go first.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, I had an older sister and I lived in LA. And so I heard K-Rock and they were playing, everything from Soundgarden to the Ramones. And I was took just whatever I heard that I liked, and would go to my older sister and, I heard this band called the Dead Kennedys, and she'd give me tapes, and I had friends with older brothers that give me tapes, and I was listening to K-Rock, really, and in the evenings, Riki would come on, it's no joke, would come on and talk about, like genital warts and stuff with Dr. Drew.
I didn't call
I was like 10,
line.
and Metallica, the Black Album had just come out, and it was everywhere, and then I started just grasping everything from like the Beach Boys and the Eagles to NWA and Belle Biv DeVoe to like whatever, like Soundgarden, Slayer, Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth. And then I discovered what, obviously, I didn't know about genres. The internet didn't exist, and I wasn't in a cliquey high school yet. And so there was like Black Flag and the Misfits and Dead Kennedys and the Ramones and Social Distortion and all that kind of stuff. And I just started pooling all these, Huey Lewis and the News, like B-52s. Anything I heard, it was up two piles. It was either I liked it or I didn't like it. And I didn't care
what it was.
I didn't have any preconceived notions about what was cool or in vogue or genres. I just liked stuff and I didn't. And even my record collection's still like that. Like I've got fucking Enya and all kinds of weird shit that people wouldn't think I have, but I do. And then I started a band in high school, as we all did. And by the time I was in my late teens, I was touring nationally. And then in my early 20s, I was joining bands that I had grown up listening to, or at least working with people that I was a fan of. And I would say by 23, 24, 25, it was a, air quote career. And off I went. And now I'm in my 40s. And this is just what I do. And I'm still a fucking nerdy fan who goes to record conventions and buys records,
Absolutely. And that's one thing from talking to a lot of people, that are friends or friends in the industry or on this podcast. I find that anybody that I know that's like a professional musician in whatever capacity of professional you want to say, one thing that everyone has in common is that they love music.
Oh yeah. All day
it doesn't
long.
matter what the genre is, they love music. And so like everybody pulls from a whole diverse pool of music and influences that are out there. And it's like, they're not just like, all right, I only listen to punk rock, or I only listen to this, or I only listen to glam rock or whatever. It was just, they love everything. And I find that that's what separates a lot of times, like and then I'm not disrespecting fans, but like fans from like people that are like musicians, that there's like this absolute love of music, whatever it is. Like, you might find, inspiration from, like you said, a Belle Biv DeVoe song. I don't know if that landed in the good pile or the bad pile.
See, I thought when he said it,
in the good pile.
When he said DVD, when he said that, I thought my computer had a glitch. I was almost gonna be like, it almost sounded like he said Belle Biv DeVoe.
See, this is what's fun about podcasts, is you learn all kinds of stuff about your friends, right? Like you learn stuff about people you don't know, but you also learn stuff about your friends. He's pulling out his Belle Biv DeVoe record.
Oh my God!
He's a serious collector because everything's alphabetical. Because he went right to it. He went right to it. He didn't have to look.
I know exactly. I'm so OCD that if you were to name any record I have, I could find it in like 10 seconds. It's alarming.
Now, wait, is it just alphabetical? Is it just alphabetical, or is it also by genre?
It's alphabetical, and then each artist is chronological. It's really stupid.
Right. I didn't know if that was the R&B bin. And then you went right to that.
He's got Belle Biv DeVoe right next to Beowulf.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's next to Belltones and Black Flag.
Yeah. Beowulf would be the next one, right after Belle Biv DeVoe.
Probably.
Do you remember Beowulf?
Yeah.
What's that?
Do you remember Beowulf?
I love the Venice stuff.
Venice, yeah.
I love that stuff. I had, for one of my shop T-shirts, I had Rick Clayton, who used to design all the old Suicidal Tendency shirts, and he was in No Mercy, I believe.
Mike Clark, I think, was in that band.
Yeah, he drew a T-shirt for me for my shop, and that was like my 14-year-old self was so stoked. I was like, because I like my first shirt, like punk rock shirt, was a Suicidal shirt, and it was like to have this guy draw my shirt for one of my shop tees. I was like very stoked.
Well, hold on a second. Okay, since you got your Belle Biv DeVoe,
it's going to turn into a what would be the most unlikely record you think these guys would have podcast?
Yeah. Oh, I could go weird for sure. What do you got?
I've got this,
Okay.
Nice.
but not near as cool as that.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. I only have this because I just bought it at a show.
What is that? I got to put my
That's the
glasses
Agent
on.
Orange. That was
Oh,
my
the Agent
first.
Orange skateboard.
That was my first real skateboard, like full size skateboard when I was a kid. That was my first full size.
No shit.
The original one. I remember being like 14 or something, 13, and waiting for it to come. And the UPS guy came, and I was like ecstatic. You know what I mean? Like, because the Vision Agent Orange was my first board.
Right.
Because we do a motorcycle event in in California called Born Free, and one year.
What do you mean we do it? You go to Born. I went to the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth Born.
I never
Free.
met you there, but I was there. I was at them all. I was
first
one of the builders for Born Free 8. But
Okay.
Dogtown was set up, and I was so stoked to meet Jim Muir and everybody because they were just
good
running the
friends with
booth.
Jim.
Yeah. That was,
So I went to the
rules.
first Born. Did you go to the very, very, very first Born Free?
No, I went from like 2 on. I didn't go to the first one.
Okay, the second one was still cool. Then it moved to the streets of Long Beach.
Yeah. Oh, actually, wait.
And
I think
then
I went to
it
the
moved
third one
it
on.
just
I didn't
it
go
got
to
so
'cause
crazy.
The first two were a lot smaller, right? Like the first one was like
TSOL played maybe.
yeah, and then now
more
it's
like a
bananas.
garage.
Now it's bananas. Yeah,
Silly.
yeah.
But they have something like that, like a lot like the feeling of the old Born Free shows they have out here. It's called Congregation.
Yeah, I've heard that
Dean
show.
from
Yeah.
Dice do it, and
Yeah.
I always have a booth there. And it's one of my favorite bike shows because with the way Born Free used to be when like Grant had it and all those
Yeah.
guys put it on, it was just such a good vibe.
Yeah, Grant's been
And
on the
that's
show.
not too big.
Yeah, and Matt and Dean from Dice are friends of mine. Well, rest in peace to Matt, but like those are good
Right.
dudes. Those are good dudes.
Dean's a North Carolina guy now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he hangs out with the Prism guys.
Who just got a bigger shop.
Yeah, yep, yeah.
There was some when I first went to this like house party and Prism had one of the bikes there and there were all those like biker guys there and I was like, oh, there's some cool people in North Carolina and
Yeah.
that's how I met all the guys in Prism and I mean, speaking of my Honda that they pulled when they saw me on the side of the freeway and picked me up and
Yeah.
they're just really good guys.
Yeah. Well, the
And do
chopper
such
scene
great
is
work.
usually pretty good, you know. And if I see anyone broken down on a chopper, I'm stopping too. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a unwritten rule. What made you go to North Carolina?
I was working in NASCAR for a long time, for like
Okay.
20 years.
Oh yeah, that makes
And
sense.
so I visit North Carolina a lot. And, you know, my rent had gone up. I realized I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy a house. And then I was just like, I've always lived. I mean, I think Ace and I felt the same way that, look, we've always lived in LA. What is it like somewhere else? And there gets to be a point that LA is really, you know, if I meet somebody in North Carolina, it's like, oh, hi, who are you? In LA, it's like, oh, hi, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's like,
And how can you help me?
you know, I don't, you know, I can speak for Ace as well that when we meet people, we just want to know, hey, what are you up to? You know, we're not like that, you know, neither of us do that rock star bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
And it kind of just got a little bit crazy. I miss riding with my friends. That's what I miss. I miss riding with my friends. I miss the restaurants. But then I was visiting North Carolina so much. And then I'd like go to a house and I was like, oh, you can rent this house, which is like gorgeous. And it's half the price of my little apartment. And then so I rented a house for a year and a half. And then I decided I was going to buy a house. And now my house is worth double.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I can live in Hollywood and I can decide, okay, well, do I have a place to put my motorcycle or I can move here and I have a boat slip. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
you
No,
know.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. Same thing. I used to live in the city in Boston, and now I'm like 40 miles outside of it in a small town in the woods, and I love it. I would not go back. I like to go into the city and hang out, and then I like to leave, you know what I mean, and come back to my quiet house.
I love North Carolina. I love it. I love the areas, and I mean, I wouldn't say I have a lot of friends here, but I have a wife.
Yeah. But people are friendly enough out there, like you said. Like you can make friends easy enough.
For the most part. We got invited to our neighbor had a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And we got invited, and I was like, I had a lot of anxiety about going because, you know, I mean, now I don't have my mohawk in. I shouldn't say it. Look, I'm wearing a Lacoste shirt. But I I was always like very kind of like about going to this neighborhood Christmas party where all like the normal people were, but it was really fun. And now like we have neighbors, like every car that drives by, it's like new wave. So that's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's beautiful riding out there.
Oh God, beautiful.
Go to the Smoky Mountains and do the tail. Yeah. But what, like, so just pushing that same question on you, like what got you involved in like going from like being someone that's a fan of music to like a career in it, or, you know, or the, you know, your early days? I know you did stuff after, but.
Well, I always wanted to be a rock star. As a kid, I wanted to be a rock star. And the only reason that I never did is the only thing that I was lacking was talent. So but I was a club DJ, and I've always been a street hustler my entire life. Still I am to this day, always hustling. Yeah. And when I opened the Cathouse with my roommate Tammy, you know, it's a cliche, and it was in the movie that Tammy says, you know, we opened the Cathouse to get free drinks and meet girls. Yeah, that's why we did it. But because that was the essence of it, there wasn't anything contrived about it at all. Yeah. You know, rock and roll dance club was unheard of. So, you know, as Tammy was working on Faster Pussycat, I was obsessed about what can I do with this Cathouse to make it this big, huge club, and then open another club, Bordello. And then, you know, and then it led to, you know, because when I was on it, my first time ever on TV was on Headbangers Ball. Like I did not go to college to take journalism or broadcasting, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy, you know. I'm just a punk like everybody else, but I happen to be in front of a camera. And so as the years progress, and I realize like, okay, I guess I'm like Ace is like, okay, I'm good at playing guitar. Well, I'm like, okay, I'm good at talking, you know. Yeah. I'm good at talking to people and telling stories. I like to do that. And then I just, because I'm a hustler, and I'm scared of losing everything, which I've done a couple times. And then, you know, when 4 years ago I started that, was it 4 years? 2022. Oh my God, 4 years ago, when I started doing my spoken word show, and which was really, really a task for me, and really, really hard. And, you know, there since day one helped me. Never could I have dreamed that I would get to go on tour doing storytelling shows and even play in Australia. And I'm telling you, to this day, it's the thing that I'm most proud of anything I've ever accomplished in my career. And I love it more than anything. I loved being on stage telling stories. I loved it. So that's what what am I good at? I'm good at talking, you know?
No, and that's going to be crazy. Like, cause you know, it's one thing to talk on TV where you're interviewing people and it's a back and forth, but it's another thing to stand up there for an hour or two by yourself and tell stories in front, or three in front of a crowd, and you know what I mean, and win them over and keep it going and keep it interesting. Like that's, you know, because even like stand-ups, right? That's almost like stand-up. You know, like you got to have a 45-minute hour set, and it's got to be that's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking, I'm sure, for sure. Like, and how is that going? Like, are you still doing the spoken word stuff, and like have you refined?
I want it. I mean, before I said I'm done. But, you know, so did Kiss. Now Kiss is going back.
Yeah. How many times? You know Kiss has done that how many times? Yeah.
It's just, you know what? I mean, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because I said I wasn't going to play anymore. But it wasn't like, hey, the last show, farewell show. It's like, and for people to stick up for bands that do that, if I would have spent $500 or $1,000 to see the final show from any band, and then they play again, I would have felt so ripped off. I thought it would be disgusting, you know? And I know because I was at the very, very last Slayer show, and I was emotional.
Sure.
It was really, really emotional at the last Slayer show. And, you know, to hear that Kiss is, you know, after Gene Simmons bombed trying to do his solo shows.
Yeah.
And now Kiss is going out on tour again. And this is not to slam anybody in Kiss or the band Kiss.
Yeah.
You know, but if you think you're going to go out, don't do a farewell tour. You're Kiss. You don't have to.
Yeah.
And then my question is like,
or if you're doing a farewell tour, don't gouge the ticket prices. Just keep them regular. Because if you do come back, people aren't pissed off because it's like, hey, I paid $500 last time, like, and now you're doing another one, like you just said.
And my big question to all of those people is, why are they doing it?
Yeah.
Why are they going out and doing more shows?
Well, as people who are musicians, like, it might be one of those things where they miss it. Like if it's genuine and it's just like they miss it, that's cool. If it's like, hey, we need to fill the coffers back up, it's like, then that's like whatever,
I feel like it's the latter.
Yeah, well, with Kiss, yeah.
But why? You've got so much money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think people get used to having a certain amount, right? And so if that dips under what they usually have,
what's that like?
Yeah, what's that like? Even though it's more than I'll ever see, you know what I mean? It's still like, like, shit, I'm down to $7 million in the bank. We better get out of, like I'm getting low, like like I don't know, but yeah. So the both of you were like from tours or like from all your years of being in the limelight, whether it's public, whether it's your club or on TV, probably have some funny stories, tour stories. Everyone loves hearing that, and I know you're going to share a bunch of that stuff that weekend in April. But is there any like outstanding like funny tour stories or like stories from your career like on Headbangers Ball or anything that would give people a little teaser to get what I mean, what they might hear about if they come out that weekend in April?
None.
No, nothing. No funny stories.
No.
What do you? No. So you talk 3 hours, just whatever.
On my show? Oh no, my show, it's all about sex, drugs, rock and roll. It's about where I came up in the scene. It's about, even though a lot of people want to hear all the stuff about Headbangers Ball, I also talk about the bad stuff, going to jail, the losing everything, going bankrupt, and that's what I like to talk about. It's kind of a rags to riches. Some people have said if people get inspiration from my show, that's the finest comp. Obviously I've got great stories like Alice in Chains at the water park. I've got great, but a lot of the stuff from Cathouse I can't really remember, but I do have some good stories of that. Me and Ace have had great, I'll never forget the running around the elevator with a towel with a chocolate on it. Like it was,
oh yeah. Yeah. I don't even know. What were we doing? We for some reason we had a towel with melted chocolate on it.
And it looked like
we were in a hotel, like a convention. Yeah, we were like showing it to people, and they were like,
antagonizing people with it. Yeah,
yeah, just being giant children as we do.
Yeah,
that's it. I think what we're gonna do. Ace and I haven't really talked about it that much because I'm still trying to learn a second chord. But I think we'll both take turns telling stories, and I think it's going to be very conversational.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about what we're going to talk about, I think, before, but it's I think it's going to be fun.
I think what we should do is definitely have a set. Let's say each of us has like 5 bullet points. That's like, these are these things that we
No. Which we will do that. But we're going to pretend, Lauren,
that we didn't
do that. But we're going to give the illusion
that it's all organic.
We're talking about something at the second.
Yeah. I know one thing that will come up that we haven't touched on, and it's
herpes.
Herpes.
Oh,
I said Lemmy, but yeah, also herpes.
I love talking about Lemmy, of course. So yeah, we'll talk about Lemmy. Motorhead is the one band that's just been, has always been, I was looking the other day at some pictures for Cathouse shirts and stuff, and I saw pictures of me and Lemmy from, 1990. I've always had some great pictures, and I've been going to their shows for so long, and it's such an important band to me. And, like to me, it's to Ace's, the Misfits are his band, and Motorhead was mine. However, I love the Misfits, and Ace loves Motorhead.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Ace?
Yeah. Overall, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. For Ace, it's the Misfits and Belle Biv DeVoe. But then,
right there,
Poison.
Poison.
That's all I heard.
I don't know about my band of that era, like to say like Prince, there's nothing embarrassing about loving Prince, but
nah.
I'm trying to think of what would be my band of that era that was like
guilty pleasure.
The most. Yeah.
I've got a lot of guilty pleasures as far as music. I don't know. I love new wave. I just love new wave. You know, I mean, for some reason, that's the stuff that's stuck in my head. You know, you name a band, I'll tell you what their hit was in new wave, to the point of being ridiculous. I don't know why I remember those things. You know, we've always play a new wave station, and I'll name the song and band immediately, and sometimes even tell you the color of the record label.
What's your go-to? What's your all-time favorite new wave hit?
My favorite new wave hit,
or deep cut or whatever. Like, but what's your go-to?
I wouldn't call them new wave, but I really think ABC was a freaking great band, you know, with the look of love, and that was all orchestrated and it's beautiful. I don't call the Stray Cats new wave. I did like the first Duran Duran album. I do like Erica 100. I like Big Country.
Human League.
Yeah, I liked Human League. I liked the album Dare. That whole album was pretty good. Gang of Four, I think, because Gang of Four goes back to early punk rock.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would call them new wave. I do love Gang of Four.
But remember, they had their big hit was Man in a Uniform.
Yeah.
That was kind of new wave.
Is
you might remember
Men Without Hats considered new wave?
No, that's considered shit.
Oh, I just saw them 2 weeks ago and they were great.
Adam and the Ants, I loved.
Yeah. Actually, I like Adam and the Ants. I like that.
I have the old Adam and the Ants stuff. Like Dirk Wears White Socks, and that stuff is like
wow. Yeah,
that
early.
was like punk rock.
Yeah.
Really,
even like Beat the Guest and stuff was still like punk rock. Like,
what a great! How come we never tried to do that song? Oh, because that's probably hard to sing.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hard one to sing, the yodeling parts there. Like,
oh yeah, I forgot about that. What was the other one? There was another song that was in Beat My Guest that was fast like that too.
I don't know.
Christian Dior was good. Any motherfucker Christian Dior. You got me started.
You guys remember there was an old British punk oi band called Blitz, and they had the hardest like punk records, and then they went total like new wave.
New wave.
And it was so
Yeah.
bizarre.
What band?
It was Blitz.
Blitz.
Remember Blitz?
Yeah, was there a song somebody got their head kicked in?
That's Youth Brigade.
Yeah, no, Blitz.
No.
Blitz had someone's gonna die tonight. This was Someone's Gonna Die Tonight. They had
thank you.
Warriors, Someone's Gonna Die Tonight, and then they got new wavy like down the road. It was very bizarre.
What about Ministry?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, that first record with Al English accent. Ain't got time for what you need.
Yeah, when Al Ferguson was English.
Yeah. He says the record label made him sing like that.
I'll tell you, those are great albums, though.
I love that record.
Oh
with Sympathy.
God.
It's got the hand with the fingernails.
Yes, I think Ace and I are going to do it. We're going to just
big Blitz fan too.
New wave songs. I will tell you this: when we figure out what songs we're going to do, they're not what people think we're going to do. I think.
You're just going to come with surprises. So it might be a Belle Biv DeVoe song.
I'll be surprised. You just know that there are songs that probably have 3 chords that he's talking. But we're gonna do some surprises, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
for sure.
Maybe not. Maybe get a little electric. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Is Roger gonna get up there and do some drums for you?
Is what?
You gonna get Roger to do some drums for you guys, or it's just gonna be straight? Just
we can talk about that, Ace.
Possibly.
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
So, as music fans, and I know it's going to be hard to pick one, but it's just, I don't know. It's always interesting to me. You guys have seen a ton of shows, Ace, I know you played a ton of shows and probably played with a lot of bands that you like, but like, what was one of your like favorite standout concerts? You know what I mean? And this is for both of you. Like,
ahead, Ricky.
There's going to be a couple.
Favorite.
There's going to be a couple.
You're not going to believe mine.
Go ahead.
I want to hear it.
It was at the Roxy. And it was the Super Suckers and Willie Nelson.
Awesome.
That's a good lineup.
Together in one band.
Oh, one band.
It was the Super Suckers playing with Willie Nelson singing.
That's amazing.
I remember there was this bar in Woodland Hills, California, that David Lee Roth did a little set and nobody knew, and he just did like some interesting covers. And I thought that was great because he was such a good showman.
Yeah.
And God, you know, I've been to shows and I've even said the Rolling Stones have never disappointed me.
No.
I love the Rolling Stones.
And live.
What about you, Ace? What was one show that I mean, Guns N' Roses Cathouse when they did the It's So Easy video was the best Guns N' Roses show ever.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure seeing them at their peak in a club capacity was like enough to blow the barn doors off anything. Mine's kind of like a little on the nose, and it's not so much for the concert, it's more for, you know, the after the show part. But it was Misfits at Madison Square Garden with The Damned and Rancid, because it's three of my favorite bands. And then after the show, there was just a really intense after party that was really cool to be privy to and hang out with literally all of every band. And just, you know, Alex Skolnick from Testament was there, and this laundry list of people, you know, it was like literally like a who's who of heavy metal and hard rock and punk rock were at this, you know, fucking Madison Square Garden. And then it's like one of those things where it's like, where do you draw the line on name droppy? But I ended up in Glenn Danzig's dressing room and was privy to a conversation he was having with, I think it was his sister. And he was talking about his family and how important it was to play the Madison Square Garden. And as a huge fan, I was like, wow, this is really cool to hear, you know, him be so emotional about this event. Like, wow, this was 10 out of 10 for me as a fan, but to know that for him, it was also that imperative was just, it was really cool. Not to get into personal details or whatever, but it was like the icing on the cake. And I'm not really an autograph guy, so I seldom ask for them, but I did on my way out, I did take the sheet off of his door and it says Glenn Danzig dressing room. You know, it's like a piece of paper with the Misfits skull behind it. So I was like, all right, there's something to hang on to.
Yeah.
Dan, I've always been a Danzig fan, always a Misfits fan. Glenn was, even though everybody thinks that Glenn used to give me shit, Glenn was always so good to me. I mean, he played my club Bordello and we didn't tell anybody he was playing. We went to go see, Ace and I and my wife went to see the Misfits play in Philadelphia when Agnostic Front and Sick of It All played, but we missed Sick of It All, but Agnostic Front was great.
Yep.
And I'm
still out in the pit.
When you're listening to an audiobook, can you say you read it or do you say you listened? Can I say I read a?
That's a weird one, right? Yeah. Like I think you can get away with either. You know, you can get away with either.
Because I've been listening to Stigma's book.
Yeah. And
the reason that I had to get it in audio is there's certain people I just love to hear talk.
Of course. Yeah.
Stigma's just so New York, and he talks like
he's the best.
He's giving like chapter. He's giving cooking recipes.
Yeah.
He's talking about.
He puts like a children's book in the middle of it. He does all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God, but he's just like. I mean, I know Stigma has no idea that I feel this way about him or his band, but I just think that he is so, to me, authentic.
Absolutely.
And he is what he is, and I like it. And of any musicians that I believe is doing it for the cause, like I think he really loves playing for the kids. You know what I mean? Like when we saw him play, and Stigma's older than me, and we saw him in the middle of the pit in Philadelphia. I mean, it's a big pit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just, you know, like I like him.
Yeah.
I like any band that looks like they're still having fun.
Yeah.
As soon as
that's what it's
like
about.
They're going through the motions, I'm like, it's lame.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, and I'm not putting this out to talk shit, but that's why, like, I've always, you know, I got into punk and hardcore probably 83, 84, but I was still a kid. I was in middle school, so I didn't get to see some of the early bands. I remember seeing flyers for the shows, and I never got to see Black Flag. And then I saw when they were doing the West Memphis 3, they did kind of like this weird Black Flag reunion where Keith Morris came out and sang the first half of the set, and Rollins sang the second half of the set. And then a couple years ago, Black Flag played again, but it was the Greg Ginn one, and it just seemed so uninspired. Yeah, I was just bummed. I was like, they're just going through the motions. This is just like whatever. And I was like, man, this sucks. And it was at the Vault in New Bedford where you performed before. But yeah, it was just a bummer. But going back to those Misfit shows, because I know that's like a weird thing, and like some people are like, I can't believe they're selling out and doing arenas and stuff. I think the coolest thing that they're doing with that is that they're paying homage to bands that they came up with, and it's like they don't got to put Murphy's Law on that show, or they don't got to put Agnostic Front on that show, or TSOL, or whatever one. I thought that was the coolest thing about the whole thing, is that they were reaching out to people that have been around forever and making sure they put them on those, because last time Murphy's Law played in arena was with Beastie Boys, you know what I mean? Like on the License to Ill tour.
Years ago,
yeah. And I thought that was
Speaking of current bands, like Lamb of God, does this cruise ship every year that I'm on, and Lamb of God does the same thing. Like they always bring up a band, like the last time they brought on like I Hate God, and they'll always bring on bands that maybe don't necessarily draw, but they came up with these bands, whether it's Municipal Waste or whoever it is. Yeah. And like they're bringing UK subs on the next cruise. How crazy is that?
Yeah. It's wild, right? Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. Like, and it's cool when you see, again, that's like when people have like real intentions, like, you know what I mean? Like they're just paying it forward. And that's how Vinny and Roger and AF will always be. Like those guys, there's no reason they need to keep doing that. You know what I mean? Other than the pure love of it. And Roger will tell you, I'm doing it just because Stigma needs something to do. You know what I mean? But like he loves it too. He's just a little more crotchety about it, But yeah, man.
Me and Ace. Okay, here's a fun story. I think I love telling this story. I don't know about Ace, but when we saw Harley, I was a little bit like we were both kind of intimidated by him, right?
I hadn't seen him in 20 years, so I was like,
I was. Okay. And he is the biggest sweetheart.
Oh,
And when we saw him, like, because I love the Cro-Mags.
Oh yeah.
And when we saw him, he was just like the nicest guy.
Yeah. Age of Quarrel is in my top 5 records of all time.
Oh God, it has to be.
Top three.
What is your favorite? Like, I go through different. What's your favorite song on that album?
Me?
Or anybody? Yeah.
What's the fucking
the beginning?
Fucking,
that's so metal.
We got to know. Yeah.
We gotta know. Thank you.
Mine's Life of My Own.
I like my.
That's a great one. We gotta know. I did that with Harley in Japan.
Okay. Wait, what?
Yeah, when I was in Murphy's Law, we spent a month in Japan, and we were out partially with. At the time, it's before he got Cro-Mags the name back, and he had a band called Harley's War, and we played. And at one show, Murphy's Law and Harley's War like merged together and did a song or two. I don't remember. It was 100 years ago, but there's video of it on the YouTubes. Yeah. But
on the YouTube.
Yeah. And I was like, I can't remember what it's called, but I know how to play it.
Yeah. But and speaking of, just shout out Murphy's Law, shout out to Jimmy G. He's another lifer that's in it just because he loves it, and that dude's one of my really good friends.
I love Jimmy. I don't know if I can find it while we're still doing this, but I have a great photo of me riding on Jimmy's shoulders, like Randy and Ozzy style in Japan, of course. And I'm playing guitar and he's carrying me. And there's just all these like Japanese hands holding beers and shit.
Yeah.
That was a fun memory to have playing with those guys. And
you've been in a diverse array of bands, like both like punk and rock and metal and stuff. Like, what's it like doing tours with like, you go out with Murphy's Law, and I know it might have been a while ago, or did you play with the US Bombs?
Yeah, I was in the Bombs for a few months. I played with Dwayne, the singer, for a really long time in a couple bands. But I was in the Bombs. Spent about 2 months in Europe.
Yeah.
And
is
a lot of kind of like filling in kind of stuff. Like I'd be in a band for 6 months or a tour or whatever.
Sure. Just getting in. But when you do, like, I'm not asking like if you have a preference, but what's the differences like when you're like on tour with like a punk or hardcore type outfit versus like, like Faster Pussycat or LA Guns? Is it a different vibe, or does it feel like the same thing to you?
Is it a different vibe being with Dwayne Peters and Phil Lewis?
I know I'm asking for the listener, you know what I mean? I'm sure it is.
there's always an element of crazy from
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
And so that X factor never seems to go away. But yeah, I mean, not just, I mean, unless really the only real difference is, are we on a bus or are we in a van or a bandwagon or something less than?
Yeah.
But other than that, it's usually, you know, because all these bands, whether it's Pussycat or Guns or Murphy's Law or the Bombs or the other 50 bands I've been in, we're all club bands. So it might be 1,200 people or 300 people, but it's not such a different magnitude where it's like, oh, we're at the Enorma Dome in front of 40,000 people. So it's all kind of the same bullshit.
Yep.
And so much of it is, you know, it's rooted in, you know, rock and roll anyhow. So it's not really a whole lot of difference. It's like everybody's, you know, it's, you know, tattooed and wearing black. Doesn't really matter if it's metal or punk or hardcore, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So you're a record collector.
No.
What's your favorite? What's like your most like? What's your holy grail record of your collection? Like, and then I know there might be a couple, but what are your banger like records?
Like that I have or that I want?
Well, both. What do you have, and what are you looking for?
You know, oddly enough, only because it's come up a few times in conversation, there's this really obscure I collect horror movie soundtracks and also ephemera and one sheets and quads and movie posters and stuff, like going back to the 30s.
Yep.
But I have a collection of soundtracks. And so there's this movie from 1980 called Monster Club, and it's super obscure.
Yeah.
Vincent Price is in it. Britt Eklund is in it. Donald Pleasance is in it, etc. And the soundtrack I got 15 years ago for like $75. And I remember spending that at the time and being like, this is really expensive.
Yeah.
And now it's worth hundreds of dollars. And people that know about the movie will be like, do you have the soundtrack? And I'll be like, yeah. And they're like, will you sell it? And I was like, fuck no.
No, yeah.
So that's a piece. Any of my first print Sam Hain stuff, which is the band Glenn Danzig had between Misfits and Danzig. That's probably really it. I mean, I have stuff that's worth, you know, $200, $300, $400, $500, but you know, most of it's just stuff I got, let's say 20, 30 years ago that appreciated in value by no fault of my own.
Yeah.
So those are the first couple things that pop into my mind. I don't know. I mean, sadly, I guess I have so many records that I don't know.
Yeah.
What's what, unless I go into Discogs like the fucking nerd that I am.
Yeah.
I have a couple 7-inches that are worth some money where I'm like, oh, I paid $5 for that. How is it worth $200 now?
Yeah.
I think it's cooler when it's something I didn't expect to go up in value. And I'm like, oh, that Alkaline Trio record I got for $30 is now a $400 album. That's dumb, but okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
No, and I mean, like, it doesn't even have to be value, but like, what's like the record that you sought after that you got that you were so stoked to have, you know?
Oh, I mean, at the time, that Monster Club record for sure. I mean, I have a fucking tattoo of the post something from the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Sadly, I'm so oversaturated in my record collecting that I've gotten to the point, even today, I was saying how I'm not really buying stuff that I'm like, oh, I have to have this. I'm buying like, oh, I have album 2, 3, and 5. So I bought album 4 just to kind of fill that sort of completist.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can tell you right now, the 2 records I'm looking for, I did spend a lot of time looking for Backyard Babies' Stockholm Syndrome, and I got that. So that was like a 10-year search. The 2 records I'm looking for, and this, Roger, if you're listening, any variant of Unholy Passion from Sam Hain, that's the second release, their EP, and a European pressing of Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill.
Cool. I have the first.
Misfits Beware.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a story about, and you're gonna laugh or feel the pain. When I was a kid, I was at a record store and I was flipping through records, and I didn't, you know, I was still like very young. I didn't know a lot yet, and I was looking at Dead Kennedys and God We Trust, and I had the original Misfits Beware 12-inch in my hand, and I was like, I don't know which one to get. I can only buy one. All right, I'll get the Dead Kennedys one. And I was so like, and nothing against the Dead Kennedys, but that record's still like in print. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't care about having an early edition of that.
Worth a couple grand.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I do have a pretty good Misfits and Sam Hain collection. I have that Unholy Passion first press, but
Well, if you ever want to part with any Unholy Passion, let me know.
I'll let you. I'll put you on the list. Yeah.
Multiple pressings of Initium and November Coming Fire, but I can't find Unholy Passion that isn't what I feel is too much for a 4-song.
Sure,
EP.
I get it. And you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a link. I had Erie Vaughn on the show before, and he broke down a lot. He broke down a lot of stuff like that was fun, like hearing about them like taking the picture for Initium and stuff. I'm like, where was that? He's like,
there's Initium. This poster, where is it? There. That's signed by Damien, Glenn, and Erie from 1984 or 5.
Nice. From
that tour.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you say, we just did it in Glenn's basement. I like the background, Ricky.
That's perfect.
I didn't know I could do that. I'm not new to what computer stuff.
He got bored with my Misfits TED Talk and started changing his background.
Yeah. So yeah, man. What's talk a little bit about? I know we're an hour in. I'll let you guys go in a minute, but tell people a little bit about you do that charity ride, and I think I I know a lot of people would be interested.
What is that?
I don't know. It's really cool.
Are those just like your screensavers? Like,
no, I didn't know. I've never done this before. This is all new to me.
How do you do that? Oh, virtual background.
Let me go. Let me just go. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Okay, seriously now. It's all right. So I've been doing this. I'm going to be real quick about this.
Yeah.
I always believe like if there's something that you're really good at, do it.
Yeah.
And do it a lot if you're good at it. And the thing that I think that I'm good at is I'm good at riding motorcycle really far. I don't know anything about motorcycles to this day, but I've ridden further than mostly anybody. And I'm truthfully. And one year, I was going to ride to Sturgis with probably Tammy and Gilby and everybody else. And my dog died, and I just like in a shitty mood. So I just figured like, I can't look at this. Hold on. I got to turn the background off. No, I'm going to keep it. So my dog, I'm laughing about my dog dying. And I rode my motorcycle, and as long as I've always been like a stress case, and I've always had so many things, like my head just thinks too many things. And I remember I was riding in the middle of the desert, and I was like, what have I been thinking about for the past half hour? I'm like, oh my God, I've been thinking about nothing. So I really got into long distance riding. And then I think I went coast to coast. And then one year, Tammy and I, like, we were different parts of the country, and we kept on like going around and missing each other. But I did one lap around the country. And then one summer I said, okay, I'm going to get on my motorcycle and ride my motorcycle in every single state, of course, except for Alaska and Hawaii. And I said, okay, I'm going to raise money for charities. I'm going to pick a different charity, and I'm going to give all the money to charity. And it was always a different charity. I personally raised $32,000 for Stop Soldier Suicide. The one time, an emotional one was I did one for the Claire Wineland Foundation, and Claire Wineland was this just beautiful young girl that was dying of, or she had leukemia, and she was like, she lived in the hospital. That's all she did. And she was just really just nice, had a great attitude. And I'd visit her in the hospital, and I raised money for her one time, and then she died. And I've always picked, Alzheimer's last year. And I'm not asking for a tap on the back or accolades, but nobody knows I do this shit. Nobody at all. And all the expenses are paid for by me this year. And Rambler Sparkling Mineral Water is helping me out big time with the ride. But I decided about a month ago that I was going to raise money for the Suicide Prevention Hotline, which is 988. And I just lost a really good friend out here that was a DJ. And then, of course, something recently has happened that's very personal to both Ace and myself. And suicide it's everywhere. And almost everybody knows somebody that's committed suicide. And in my troubled times, there was times that I had thought about it. And 988 is something that anybody can call anonymously or text or anything. And it's just there to let people know, like, asking for help isn't weak. So I decided this year I'm going to raise money for 988. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to ride? Because I've ridden a motorcycle coast to coast 15 times. And I'm like, what can I do this year? I'm like, well, I've never ridden in Alaska. So I've already been to Key West and back. And then I'm gonna go from my house all the way down to the coast. Oh God, did I tell you I'm going to go to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre gas station
That's so rad.
in Texas? I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go to New Orleans. I'm going to do Houston. I'm going to spend my birthday in Austin. Then I'm going to do an iron boat, which is 1,000 miles in 24 hours. Then I'm going to ride to Calgary, Canada, pick up my wife, spend 4th of July way up in Alaska where they launch cars off cliffs on the 4th of July, and then ride all the way back. And I just love, I mean, I don't, the reason that I ride motorcycles is not, Sons of Anarchy, the crow flies straight. Even though I know a lot of one percenters, but and friends with them. But I just ride because I freaking love riding motorcycles. I love riding motorcycles so much. I will ride in any condition. I love getting on the bike. And today, my wife and I found a pretty legit biker bar. Like it was a real biker bar. There were guys from the Outlaws were there, the big Confederate flag on the back. And we walked in there and two of the people knew who I was from my rides.
Yeah.
And when I rode up on this Pan America, this adventure bike, and, I don't usually wear collared shirts, but and it was like, I was getting massive respect from all these like hardcore bikers for the stuff that I do. And one old guy went up to me and goes, "Hey, dude, I used to watch you when I was that little." And I'm like, this is an old guy telling me that. So that was kind of weird. But to get so much respect from that community for what I do was like that was really, really cool to me because I love doing it. I'm gonna travel everywhere. We're gonna go find the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. We're gonna go play chicken shit bingo in Austin. We're gonna go to where they launch cars off. We're gonna eat a lot of food, and I love doing it more than anything. And when people follow me, it's the best travel show in the world that nobody's ever seen because I don't get YouTube. I mean, I'm trying to start a YouTube channel and all that social media. I'm trying to. I think a big reason is that I'm doing podcasts with rainbows in back of me. But other things, but it's what I really, really enjoy doing. And the website isn't really up yet, but if they go to lostramblers.com, you can donate to 988. And I also have I started a foundation called the Heavy Mental. And if you go to the Venmo for Heavy Mental Foundation, you can donate there. Or the best way is if you buy Cathouse shirts or Headbangers Ball shirts or anything from CatHouseHollywood.com, every penny of that goes to fund the ride. Because these rides, I mean, I'm not lying, they cost about $50,000 to do at least.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
So but all the money that I raise goes to charity. So I do this I've done them since 2014, and I just can't wait to get on the road. And the great thing is that I've got a wife that also likes to ride with me on the back. So she's on the back, saying, "Hey, they've got the best coffee if you go this way." And so we do that.
It's cool.
And
you got a navigator. Yeah.
Yeah, but I got a brand new Harley Davidson Pan America, and I just got a Garmin, and I got to find a seat company that hopefully will sponsor me and, get some stuff. So I'm ready for the ride, but it's interesting. It's very interesting. And the thing that I've said every time I go on the ride is America is great. America was great a long time ago. America is great today. It's going to be great in the future. And I've always thought of America as great. You can find a lot of shit out there. You can find some people that are talking a lot of crap. And right now, it's so much easier to hate. It's so much easier to criticize. But for the most part, there's some pretty good people. If you just put all politics aside, there's some pretty good people everywhere. And I don't associate with the people that are talking shit or that are angry. I try to associate with people that have their spirits up, that are enjoying the walk outside and like, my God, this sun feels so good on my face. Yeah. And that's what I do. I want to meet people that are legit people, like I've never said, I've never ever called anybody fans. Like if people love what I do, I've never called them fans. And one thing that Ace is also very good at, we both have Patreons, and both of our Patreons are very similar. That the people know that like, look, we treat them like peers. A lot of them, like they're our friends. We want to hear what they're doing. And what was the guy's name? I think it was Alex Grassi or somebody that just did this whole post and said, "You fans have to understand you're not our friends. That we're this, but fans are not our friends." I'm like, fuck. I mean, look at Barnaby. I mean, the truth is we've met. I've never said fans, but the thing that both an Ace and I feel the same way, like we do Patreon because it helps pay for my ride. It does help some of the expenses. But the truth is both Ace and myself really do enjoy the interaction and love to go to places where we see these people. I'm correct that you feel that way, right, Ace?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Because look, I mean, I'll be the first one to say I'm old as fuck. And to know that people still care enough to come see me and ask me to sign something or anything like that, like that's flattering. Like I could have really been, like, oh, whatever happened to Riki Rachtman, I mean, I still am, but I've got a good base of supporters, whether it's Patreon or Facebook or just people that come see me on the ride. That's what I love. I mean, look, Ace and I sold out New Bedford. Now I know the place isn't big, but there's people that want to see us, and we already know some of these people, and that's great. There's people that are flying in.
Yeah.
So it's very lucky. And I think that if either Ace or myself had this rock star attitude and had this untouchable attitude, I don't think people would feel the same way, because neither of us are big superstars at all. I've never been real. Well, I was kind of famous for a little bit, but never been like really famous, so we're very approachable. I don't like it. And I'm sorry for taking up so much time talking, but I'm on a rant. But when people, come up to me and they say like, I saw you one time and I wanted to stop and take a picture, but I didn't want to bug you. I'm like, if I'm not eating and I'm not taking a piss, please bug me. Please come up and say something. As long as I'm not eating or taking a piss.
Yeah, bathrooms off limits.
Yeah. Don't be weird in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But
like that's weird. Have you ever like go and piss and somebody like, dude, you're Riki Rachtman, what's up? I'm like, I'm fucking pissing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go stand outside.
Hey, bro.
I'll talk to you when we're outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'll definitely put up the links. And shoot me if you can. Shoot me an email with the links for everything. We'll have all that in the show notes. So if people want to support the ride or support you guys, and everything you guys got going on social media and stuff, I'll blast all that in the show notes in case someone's driving right now. They don't got to pull over and write anything.
People don't understand. And this I want to say, and I hate to talk for Ace again, but Ace and I are both very, very selfish. We both raise a lot of money for charities because it makes us feel good. If I'm going to give $30,000 to 988, the suicide prevention hotline, if I'm going to give $30,000 to them, it's because I'm selfish, because it makes me feel good. And sometimes I might get a little teary-eyed. And Ace works his ass off for pit bulls and pit bull rescues and stuff like that. And he doesn't do it, so hopefully people will acknowledge and say, look at that great thing you're doing, Ace. He does it because it makes him feel good. That's why a lot of people don't know about the charitable things we do. They don't know about the, how hard that Ace is working at an animal shelter, or that I'm, raising money for whatever I'm raising money for. It's because we do it out of selfishness. It makes us feel good.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll be at the shelter in the morning.
It's a good way to express selfishness, you know what I mean, by helping others, right? Very commendable. Well, I look forward to hanging out with you guys in a couple weeks. I'll be there at the bar, and I'll come by to the show. My buddy Adam is the guy that owns Play. If you haven't been there,
he's very nice.
What games do they have there?
All 80s.
A ton of art.
What's your go-to, Ace? What's your go-to?
Your favorite old school stand-up video game?
What's the Terminator with the machine gun? Terminator 2? It's from the 90s, dude. That's old now.
Yeah, it's like 45 years old, right?
Yeah.
No, 35.
Yeah, 35 years.
I remember one of my first jobs was at a skateboard park, the Marina Del Rey skateboard park in Dogtown. And I remember they brought in asteroids. That's how old I am.
Damn.
My go-to Centipede.
Centipede's great, dude.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I like Centipede. Do they have Centipede there?
Maybe.
I'm not sure, but
he's got a bunch of Jaws stuff, dude.
He's got a bunch of Jaws stuff. If they don't have Centipede, they'll have like Galaga or something like that. You know what I mean? There'll be
Galaga.
Yeah, maybe you guys should do like a charity, like video game playoff. You know what I mean? Tie it in.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but no, it'll be a good time over there. And Roger will take you guys around and show you guys a good time all weekend and stuff.
You serve food at your bar?
We the only food we have is a pizza, and it's what's called a South Shore bar pizza. It's a very geographical southeastern South Shore and southeastern Massachusetts specialty pizza. It's like a 10-inch bar pizza. If you like
Right.
pizza, we make the dough every day. We make the sauce every day. We
Oh, you
make the
do?
cheese every
Okay.
day. If you guys want to come back, you guys can make your own, and we'll bring you in the back, have you make
Is
your
it as
own
good as
pizzas.
Sally's?
What's that?
Is it as good as Sally's?
I don't know Sally's. Where's that?
Oh, it's in Connecticut.
Oh yeah. It's different. It's
Isn't Connecticut and New Bedford the same thing?
No. That's a couple hours apart, but vastly different pizza wise. Vastly different. It's a thin crust, personal. Like I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you, and I'll go over it with you on when you guys are down on Thursday. But yeah, it was
Did you get your costume yet for what we're gonna wear, Ace?
My costume.
The stage clothes. Did you meet with the designer yet?
Yeah, all patent red leather.
Okay, good. Because me too. Good. That's good. With a rainbow.
Gentlemen.
Oh my
you,
god!
you guys
so glad.
you should bring that background and have that hanging up in the back while you guys perform.
I'm fine
Yeah.
with it.
That's
I'm
not
fine
bad.
with it. Ricky's getting a rainbow tattoo on his throat.
Again? Did you hear they made a horror movie about a unicorn?
I think I heard about that.
Payback.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah.
There's all kinds.
Yeah.
I watched one about a raccoon called Crackoon the other day.
They're making a
Oh, is that
Popeye
like
the
a-
Sailor Man horror movie.
There's
The what?
yeah, there's one studio that's remaking a bunch of like old Disney
Oh, Winnie the
stuff,
Pooh and Mickey Mouse.
and they're doing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that Popeye, and I think
Popeye the Scary Man or something.
yeah, just very bizarre. But you were talking about music, movie soundtracks. That's one of my things that I really like is like old like 60s and 70s music, movie soundtracks. Like if you listen to like the soundtrack for like Death Wish and stuff, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I
Yeah.
love
What's
that.
your favorite? Okay, let me ask you this, and then we really have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My rainbow's fading. What is your favorite soundtrack in the past 20 years? There's only one right answer.
It's funny. I was just thinking about the Pulp Fiction soundtrack because your sister,
Good answer. Good answer.
but that's from 30 plus years ago.
By the way, my
I don't
sister
know. I
did
can't.
that. My sister was
Yeah,
the one that
yeah.
did that. That's why I said that.
Devil's Rejects is a decent one.
Devil's Rejects is good. I don't know. I can't think of anything. What about you?
I just wanted to see if somebody would mention something my sister did.
Oh yeah. Well, shout out to
Shout
your
out to
sister.
Karen Rachtman.
She's a pro.
Yeah.
And a very, very sweet lady. It was really cool getting to hang out with her here a couple months
Oh, they
ago.
love you. They love you so much more than they love me. Just like my dad. My dad loves Tammy more than he loves me.
Well, why don't
God.
you guys blast out your social medias if people want to find out more information about what you guys got going on, and I'll put that in the show notes as well. But if you want to just give those shout outs.
So on Grindr and Tinder, I'm Rainbow Man. Everything is Riki Rachtman, RikiRachtman. I guess I'm more Facebook than Instagram, but I've got a YouTube that's going to be up called Lost Ramblers, and lostramblers.com is my website, but it's not really up. But pretty much just Riki Rachtman on whatever.
Okay.
I'm relatively existent on Instagram. So at Ace Von Johnson on Instagram, ACEVONJOHNSON. Patreon.com/Ace Von Johnson. And then I have a Instagram page where I share rescue dogs. So it's AVJ, like Ace Von Johnson. AVJ, is it plural? AVJ Rescue page. And I just share dogs from the Nashville area, a lot in Texas and a lot in California and the tri-state area. So if anybody's interested in that, check out AVJ Rescue page or just check out my Patreon.
All right, cool. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on. Before Riki starts getting really weird with the backgrounds, we'll sign off here.
This is a good one.
That's the good one.
What's that, a deer?
Thanks for having us, Truth.
No, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.